Let's get your top story, and that's airline companies that are increasing ticket prices during the festival season. And it's Union Civil Parks Minister, Mohan Naidu, who's gone on to say that they're keeping an eye on the ticket prices when it comes to the airlines. All airlines have been told that the passengers should not face any sort of inconvenience. Everybody wants to go home during the festive season, so the ticket prices shouldn't be increased too much. The ministry has also said that they are speaking with the airlines in regard to keeping the tickets affordable. And let's just listen in to what Mohan Naidu had to say.
हम ज़रूर एयरलाइंस वालों से बात कर रहे हैं, तो हमें वो सेंसिटिविटी को आगे बढ़ा रहे हैं कि इस तरह के समय सब लोग अपने घर जाना चाहते हैं, सब लोग अच्छे तरीके से त्यौहार बनाना चाहते हैं। तो हमने या वेस्ट बंगाल हो या केरला हो, कहीं और भी कोई भी त्यौहार हो, हम लोगों की यही कोशिश रही है कि हम एयरलाइन वालों से बात करें, उनको ये सिचुएशन समझाएं कि इसका दुरुपयोग ना करें, अच्छी तरह से वो प्राइसेस सीमित रखकर उनको भी वो सुविधा दें। तो हम अपनी तरफ से जो चीज़ें करनी चाहिए वो सब कर, अगर जहाँ पे भी नज़र आता है कि कहीं से कुछ ज़्यादा ही प्राइस बढ़ रहा है, तो उस टाइम मिनिस्ट्री की तरफ से थोड़ा सजेस्टिवली जो करना होगा।
And we have Vipul Saxena, the aviation expert, joining us to get us more on this. Vipul Saxena, when Mohan Naidu has taken charge as the civil aviation minister, he had claimed that the ministry had a 100-day action plan in order to tackle issues such as high airfares. The centre had asked the airlines not to make these fares unaffordable, but no directives can be given by the centre to ensure that the prices remain affordable.
Yeah, I think it's a very good and appreciable proactive action by the ministry this time. Unlike in the past, during all the festive seasons, the airlines hike up their fares exorbitantly. I would say it's like extortion during the festive season, and the many people cannot find it affordable to really get these facilities. Even then, there were no hearing. But now this time, Minister has taken proactive action. I think it's a appreciable action, and it's possible. What he's talking about is quite possible because airlines have so much of volume to make, conserve their profits and still operate it and accommodate people. But what has been happening is that during this festive season, airlines have been on the way of hoarding money, hoarding profits, which is not the right approach. They should balance it out so that they make profit as well as the passengers and citizens also can go to their hometowns to celebrate festivals with their relatives and parents and all that.
Right, so what can be done in order to ensure that fares, around the year are affordable, at least, around the year? Are there some sort of incentives that can be made available to the flyers so that even when, it's not the festive season or the holiday season, that the airlines don't suffer?
See, I think there are certain things which can be done. One is that during the festive seasons, some kind of subsidy government can think of in terms of fuel surcharges, subsidies, and some states that they charge VAT on the ATF fuel. That also can be subsidized to a certain extent. So some kind of load, if state governments and central government can take it, that can give some kind of cushioning to the airlines. And second thing, during this festive season, there are a lot of foreign airlines operate to India, bringing Indians to the Indian destinations. Even they have got a lot of seating capacities. I think they can also be engaged during this period so that there is enough capacity available so that fares are not hiked disproportionately.
Right, this seasonal seesaw that we see every year, and of course, it forces some of the flyers to perhaps change their plans.
And one more point I would like to add.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
I would like to add one more point that during this festive season, government can also put some kind of cap on the price that airlines can take on.
Right. Thank you so much, sir, for speaking with us here at NDTV. Let's just also get in our caller, Major Gurdeep Singh Samra, joining us from Ludhiana. Sir, go ahead with the inconvenience that you're facing trying to book tickets during this festive season.
Divya have a very different view on this issue. There is it is a make hay while the sun shines, because the airline knows that now the capacities are going to be full. If the result, they'll increase the fare. It happens all the time. It is a market-driven economy. You and the ministers will keep giving bites that we are going to do this. I don't think anybody will be able to control it much. I think we'll have to accept it for next till January. It is going to be like this.
Right,
Very, very
sir,
simple.
you know, it's very unfortunate, especially for those who can't really afford it and need to go home during the festive season from now, like you mentioned, all the way till January, whether it's Christmas, before that Diwali, Navratras are coming up, of course, Ganesh Chaturthi, that is, you know, being celebrated across the country over the next, you know, 5-6 days. Take us through, you know, sir, when it comes to this period where everybody seems to be traveling because of the festivities, what are the alternatives for these people?
Alternatives basically go by train, and we have so many trains where I can go by train. I don't think airlines are going to burst this time because airlines too suffered the corona effects. We all know it very well. So many simply vanished into thin air. We'll have to face it. That is the reality of life. I think let's not make it too big an issue. It will die down after January. That's a normal thing.
Right, but it's very unfortunate, sir, for those who need to travel now, given the festivities. They want to be home with their loved ones, with their families, and they don't really have an option as to when they can travel. Thank you so much for speaking with us here on NDTV. We have another caller coming in, Captain Jaspal Singh from Rohtak. Take us through the grievances and the issues that you have in regard to this fare hike that we are seeing now, going all the way up till, you know, perhaps January, like our previous caller mentioned.
It is total exploitation of the passengers. For the government to say that we can only caution, can't control, better quit. You have to provide control for all these people who are making merry. You can't say that we can't control you. Keep on making money. Have a gala time. We shall have brickbats and we are answerable for you. It is a very sad state of affairs. And if the government doesn't have the people who can control them and hasn't got the willpower, they will face the music in the polls. Thank you.
Right. We also have my colleague Vishnu Som joining us to get us more on this. Vishnu, when Mohan Naidu had taken charge or as the aviation minister, he had gone on to say that the centre will be tackling issues such as fares which are unaffordable, but no directives can really be given by the centre to ensure that the prices remain affordable.
You're quite right. And you know, the Air Corporation Act of 1994 has been withdrawn. Now that, you know, and it has been withdrawn several years back. In other words, pricing for airlines in a free market economy is essentially free. However, the Director General of Civil Aviation and the Civil Aviation Ministry can try and ensure that there are no unfair practices, that there are a massive jump, for example, in spot fares which take place on particular days. There aren't massive jumps on particular days, particular sectors, particular time bands. There isn't a massive jump, for example, in additional services which passengers can avail. Now, in terms of statistically, whether or not there have been or there has been an increase during this festive season, yes, there has been a rise, but there has been a rise for those by and large who are booking closer to the date of travel. So there is a 10 to 15% increase for Diwali and 20 to 25% increase for flights to Kerala cities in Onam. This is according to Ixigo, which has conducted this survey. However, these are primarily on routes which are one-way fares. So in one-way fares, if you're looking to travel from X to Y and not return, then chances are that you will be paying a higher fare. However, the report also mentions that there are other sectors which have actually seen a decline in airfares as well. However, this becomes an important issue, for example, for people traveling to Kolkata from other parts of the country during the Durga Pujas, for Onam celebrations in the south, when there is only so much capacity which exists and when everybody wants to book a ticket, particularly when a ticket they need to book late. So because there are just a few tickets available, airlines do bump up their prices. This happens around the world. It does appear to be quite unfair to passengers who want to go back to their loved ones. But that, unfortunately, is the way it works, not just in India, but around the world.
Vishnu, we see that around the year as well, right? If we book tickets just closer to time, we end up paying much more than we would pay if we book in advance. And that's something we're seeing now. But obviously, this is even higher prices that, you know, flyers will have to perhaps reconsider the mode of transportation.
I will tell you, Divya, they will have to reconsider. It's not an option. If you can't afford an airfare on the date of travel, then you have to find another way of getting there, whether it's a train, bus, or what have you. But I do believe, and you know, just to reflect a little bit on what one of your earlier callers said, that this could potentially become a political issue in this country. Why? Air travel in India is growing exponentially. We are one of the largest aviation markets in the world, with all the major aircraft manufacturers see this as being perhaps the brightest spark anywhere. And given the number of people who are traveling in India at this stage, if there is something like airfares going up dramatically, then it might well become a political issue for our political parties to look at whether or not anything can be done. So free market and what the rules say, and whether there are laws which prevent this sort of thing versus looking after your political constituency and in the process looking after the needs of passengers traveling. This is going to be a key debate, I suggest, in the years ahead.
Absolutely. And with the government there, saying that they had a 100-day action plan with the new civil aviation minister planning to tackle issues such as these, particularly high airfares. But the centre there's been no plan that has been implemented because no directive can be given by the centre in order to ensure the affordability when it comes to prices, because the demand is high during the festive season. Airfares are dynamic and thus the rise. We have Pradeep calling us from Bandra in Mumbai. Pradeep, take us through the issues that you're facing while trying to book tickets during this festive season.
Actually, this is a recurring problem over the years because every festive season we face this exorbitant fares. So I was wondering why can't the government fix some maximum rate which the airlines can charge? So because we have cases where Delhi, Jaipur flights have been sold out for 30,000. So why can't there be justification for the rates and the fixing of some maximum rate beyond which the airlines should not be charging? Thank you.
Absolutely. We have Sunil Kohli also joining us from Delhi. Take us through your reaction to, the centre there coming down heavily on the airlines, but only making a plea in order to keep the tickets affordable.
Hello.
Sunil, right. We have Vipul Saxena, aviation expert, still with us. Sir, thank you for staying on. When we talk about affordability during this festive season, if one really has to, go somewhere, hadn't planned that trip earlier, maybe it's an emergency, what kind of alternative can one have in these kind of situations and circumstances?
No, I think there's one more thing which needs to be done is that certain seats should be reserved for the emergency people, and also we've been seeing all this while that there are so many cancellations, and during festive season also there are so many cancellations. At that time, somebody should not get stuck that he cannot go despite booking flight, he cannot go home. So even there should be some kind of interconnecting between the flights, where suppose if a flight of an airline is say cancelled, their passengers should be accommodated by other airlines. So some kind of this arrangement had to be done, and also there should be some kind of capping of the fares needs to be done, so that it is affordable to the passenger, and also airlines can make whatever profit they're targeting at, because they also run through some losses during the off seasons. I agree with that point, but then it cannot be exorbitantly charged fare which is cannot be afforded by the passengers in normal case. And especially when Prime Minister Modi has been promising that he wants that every person with the Hawaii Chappal also should be able to fly. So with that kind of motto in mind, vision in mind, I think Civil Aviation Minister's proactive action should give some kind of hope, some kind of real result this time, so that passengers and citizens can go to their hometowns to celebrate the festivals without paying through their noses.
Given the fact if there is an incentive, if the prices are in fact not hiked during this festive season, don't you think more people would get to travel on flights and not having to look for alternative routes? Wouldn't that be a win-win situation? Wouldn't it be a win-win situation if prices weren't hiked and a lot more people would be traveling in this particular phase, going from now all the way till January, like you mentioned, given that it's the festive season? If the prices weren't hiked and the flyers did not have to look for an alternative route.
Yeah, I agree with you. There are places which are not making profit during other season, but during this seasons, even those routes, non low profit routes also will be making profit. So I think whatever negative numbers airlines have been tolerating during certain seasonal time, I think those are also covered in this period.
Right,
Because
they're
every
trying to
route will
make
be
up for their
fully packed.
losses while the sun shines, of course. We also have Sunil Kohli from Delhi, caller who's joining us. Sunil, take us through your reaction of this hike in fares that we are seeing just ahead of the festive season.
This is actually a recurring issue over the years, and I was always wondering why the government can't fix a maximum rate which they can't charge. Mere issuing advices won't work. Because my own daughter paid 50,000 last year coming from Bombay to Delhi. So I think there is a high time that government comes in a stricter manner and at least fix the maximum they can charge. Because hapless consumers are at the mercy of these airlines. So that's not fair, I think. Thank you, ma'am.
Right. Thank you so much, Sunil Kohli, for speaking with us here on NDTV. So, of course, the centre there, asking the airlines to keep the prices affordable, saying that they're keeping an eye as far as the inflation in prices is concerned during this festive season, because there is a high demand, which is why, given the fact that the prices are dynamic, thus we see a rise in the airfares during this festive season. So, let's just see if there's some sort of solution that can really come about, because the centre also has gone on to say they can only ask the airlines in order to make it affordable, but they can't really enforce such an action on the airlines.